before we start?
गणेशाय नमः। ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः। श्री गुरुदेवेभ्यो नमः। सर्वमंगल मांगल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थ साधिके शरण्ये त्र्यंबके गौरी नारायणी नमस्तुते। नारायणी नमस्तुते। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मां जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। नमो नमो दुर्गे सुख करनी। नमो नमो अम्बे दुख हरनी। निरंकार है जो ते तुम्हारे तुम्हें सदा पूजे नर नारी। निरंकार है जो ते तुम्हारे तिहु लोक पहले उजियारे। शशि ललाट मुख महा विशाला नेत्र लाल वृकुति विकराला। रूप मातु को अधिक सुहावे दर्श करत जन अति सुख पावे। तुम संसार शक्ति लय कीना पालन हेतु अन्न धन दीना। अन्नपूर्णा हुई है जगपाला तुम ही आदि सुंदरी बाला। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मां जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। प्रलय काल सब नाशन हारे तुम गौरी शिव शंकर प्यारे। शिव योगी तुमरे गुण गावे ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुम्हें नित्य ध्यावे। रूप सरस्वती का तुम धारा दे सुबुद्धि ऋषि मुनि न उबारा। धर्यो रूप नर सिंह को अम्बा परगत भई पार कर कंबा। रक्षा करी प्रहलाद बचायो हिरण्याकशु को स्वर्ग पतायो। लक्ष्मी रूप धरो जग माही श्री नारायण अंग समारे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मां जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। क्षीर सिंधु में करत विलासा दया सिंध दीजे मन आशा। हिंगलाज में तुम्ही भवानी महिमा अमित न जाय बकानी। मातंगी धूमावती माता भुवनेश्वरी बगला सुखदाता। श्री भैरव तारा जगतारन चिन्ह भाल भवदु कनिहारे के हरि वाहन सोहे भवानी लंगुर वील चरक अगवानी कर में कप्पर कर गविराजे जाको देख काल डर बाजे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे सोहे कर में आस्त त्रिशूला जात उतर शत्रु यशूला नगर कोटि में तुम्ही विराजत तुम्ही लोक में डंका बाजत शुंभ निशुंभ दानव तुम मारे रक्त बीज शंकन संहारे महिषासुर नृप अति अभिमानी जहि अगभार मही अकुलानी जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे रूप कराल काली को दारा सेन सहित तुम ही सम्हारा परिगार संतन पर जब जब पही सहाय माता तुम तब तब अमरपुरी अरबा सब लोक तब महिमा सब रहे अशोका बाला में है ज्योति तुम्हारे तुम्हें सदा पूजे नर नारी जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे प्रेम भक्ति से जो नर गावे दुख दरिद्र निकट नहीं आवे जाए तुम्हें जो नर मन लाए जन्म मरण का कर चुत जाए जोगी सुर मुनि कहत पुकारे जोग न हो बिन शक्ति तुम्हारे शंकर आश्चर्य तब कीनो कामरु क्रोध जीत सब लीन जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे निशिदिन ध्यान धरो शंकर को काहू काल नहीं सुमिरो तुमको शक्ति रूप को मर मन पावे शक्ति गए तब मन पछताए शरणागत हरि कीर्ति बखानी जय 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 जगदम्ब भवानी बही प्रसन्न आदि जगदम्बा दई शक्ति नहीं की न विलंबा मूक मात कष्ट अति गैरो तुम बिन कौन हरे दुख मेरो आशा तृष्णा निपत सतावे रिपु मूरत मोहि अति धर पावे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ जय अम्बे जगदम्बे शरणागत हुई कीर्ति माँ शरणा शत्रुनाश की जय महारानी सुमिरो एक चित तुम्हें भवानी करो कृपा है मातु दयाला रिद्धि सिद्धि को करहु निहाला जब लग जियो दया पल पावे तुमरो यश में सदा सुनाव दुर्ग चालीसा को जोई गावे सब सुख भोग परम पर पावे देवी व्यास शरण नित जावे, करो कृपा जगदम्ब भवानी। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे माँ, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
Can shift over this way a little bit? Bring your chair and so on over, everybody. You can shift over here a little bit. You're going to hear more clear. Yeah, bring your asanas over here.
Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana. Hey Rama Govinda, Shama Gopala, Hey Rama Govinda, Shama Gopala, Shri Krishna Govinda Narayana, Shri Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana. Hey Madhavaya, Hey Vasurevaya, Hey Madhavaya, Hey Vasurevaya, Murali Manohar Narayana, Murali Manohar Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Krishna Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana, Krishna Rama Govinda Narayana, 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 Narayana.
See? बोले श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर राम चंद्र की जय। वक्रतुंड महाकाय
सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणी नमोऽस्तुते। वन्दे देवमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वन्दे जगत्कारणं वन्दे पन्नगभूषणं मृगधरं वन्दे पशूनां पतिं वन्दे सूर्यशशाङ्कवाहननयनं वन्दे मुकुन्दप्रियं वन्दे भक्तजनाश्रयञ्जवरदं वन्दे शिवं शङ्करम् वंशीविभूषितकराणनवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखारविन्द्रनेत्र कृष्णात् पदं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने। श्रीराम राम रघुनन्दन राम राम श्रीराम राम भरताग्रज राम राम श्रीराम राम रणकर्कश राम राम श्रीराम राम शरणं भाव राम राम। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः। ॐ तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। बोले उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। राधा कृष्ण भगवान की जय। श्री भक्त गरुड़ जी महाराज की जय। अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं मधुराधिपते रखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपते रखिलं मधुरम् अधरं मधुरं वदनं मधुरं नयनं मधुरं हसितं मधुरं हृदयं मधुरं गमनं मधुरं मधुराधिपते रखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपते रखिलं मधुरम् वचनं मधुरं चरितं मधुरं वसनं मधुरं वलितं मधुरं चलितं मधुरं भ्रमितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं वेणु मधुरो रेणु मधुरः पाणिर्मधुरः पादो मधुरो नृत्यं मधुरं साख्यं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं
मधुरं
गीतं मधुरं पीतं मधुरं भोक्तं मधुरं सोक्तं मधुरं रूपं मधुरं तिलकं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं
मधुरं
करणं मधुरं तरणं मधुरं हरणं मधुरं रमणं मधुरं वमितं मधुरं समितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
गुञ्जा मधुरा माला मधुरा यमुना मधुरा वीची मधुरा सलिलं मधुरं कमलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
गोपी मधुरा लीला मधुरा योक्तं मधुरं भोक्तं मधुरं हृष्टं मधुरं श्रेष्ठं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
गोपा मधुरा गावो मधुरा यष्टिर्मधुरा सृष्टिर्मधुरा ललितं मधुरं फलितं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं मधुराधिपतेरखिलं ओ मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरं
मधुराधिपतेरखिलं मधुरम् प्रेम से बोलो श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय। As we sing to the Lord this evening, Adharam Madhuram, Vadanam Madhuram, Nayanam Madhuram, Hasitam Madhuram, Hridayam Madhuram, Gamanam Madhuram, Madhuradhipate, Rakhilam Madhuram. We bow to the sweet Lord Bhagwan Shri Krishna, and we ask that may He keep all of us sweet. Just like when you touch the honey, no matter how much you try to take a tissue and wipe your hand, it'll always be sticky and you'll taste sweet. If you touch Shri Krishna, or if you become in contact with Him, what will happen in life? No matter how much you try to get rid of Him, or try to forget about Him, He'll be in your dreams. He'll be there when you close your eyes, when you open your eyes. He'll be there when you're driving. Just be attached to the Lord and stay sweet. Let our speech be sweet. Let our karmas be sweet. Let our thinking be sweet. Let the way we carry ourselves be sweet. Everything about us should be sweet. And of course, those who come in contact with us, they will become sweet as well. Shri Krishna Bhagwan's blessings to all of you. And thank you very much for joining this evening. I want to welcome you on behalf of our temple to our annual Garud Puran Katha. This year only 3 sessions. This evening we want to thank Mata Yashoda Shri Krishun, who is our Shrota. Every year she takes time to sit in puja, to ask Bhagwan's blessings on her ancestors, on her beloved ones who have passed on. She's giving thanks today and dedicating it to all her ancestors and beloved family and friends who have gone to the beyond, and she's reflecting upon them today. She has their pictures here and beautiful diya lit in front of them. Mataji is a devotee of the temple, very connected devotee. She's always, with us in some way. Have gone through some losses recently in her life, but we know that God's blessings and prayers and companionship with the temple and our members here keep her going. May Bhagwan Shri Krishna's blessings always be upon her and all her departed ones who are today enjoying. This is called the Pitra Parva. I talked about this many times. This is the parab, like you have Shivratri, and so this is the parab of the Pitris. In India, right? Let me pose this question to you. If I should say that during Pitra Paksh, we will organize a Bhagavad Katha at the temple, big Bhagavad Katha at the temple, how many of you in the West Indian community would say, wrong Pandit? Very wrong thing. You think about it. If I should say, during Pitra Paksh, let's do a Bhagavad Katha in Pitra Paksh. But in India, this is the time when all the Bhagavad Kathakar, all the Bhagavad lecturers, they are busy as busy can be, back to back. In the whole Pitra Paksh, 2 Bhagavad back to back. What do you say about that? Bhagavad is Mukti Dham, Mukti Marg. This is a time when we do not suspend our godly life. This is not a time to suspend your prayers, because Hindus always find for an excuse to suspend our prayer. We're going to talk all about that today. This is not a time when we suspend our prayerful life and we just close up shop and wait till Navaratri come. No. This is Mukti Marg. This time here, whatever prayers we do, the blessings go to those who have gone, who have departed. India, they do Bhagavad Katha this time. Lots of Bhagavad Kathas, because people pray and they celebrate, they dance, and the whole works. They pray for the well-being of their beloved. All of you remember the story of Gokarna and Dundukari. We only read that in August. Dundukari was the brother of Gokarna. He was impious. No Shraddha or anything was good for him. But when Gokarna performed the Srimad Bhagavad Katha, his Atma elevated. From a pret, from a ghost, if you believe in ghost, I say ghosts exist, but you should believe in God. Right? Ghosts exist because they don't have the passport to go, so they have to linger around. From a ghost, he became an angel.
and he went to Paramdham, right? Through Bhagavad Katha, through Katha. So that is why in Pitr Paksh it is very important. Next year, God's spare life and Bhagwan's blessings, we will do it a little longer. Because 3 days, 3 days is when you do the introduction of the Garud Puran. You can't talk in detail, but we'll do our best, no? To bring something to you. So this is called the Pitr Parva. This is called the Parva of the Pitris, where they are feasting. They are in bliss based on what you do in your life. In what you do in your life. So Mataji is sponsoring a Katha in the name of her ancestors. May they all continue to bless her. Today as well, virtually, we have two sponsors, Auntie Lalita and Uncle Beams. They are sponsored the Bhojan today in honor of their parents, Dev and Sahodra Narayan and Purushottam Narayan. May Bhagwan Shri Krishna bless their Atma, and may they bless Uncle Bhim and Auntie Lalita as well, who was dedicated today's Bhojan in their name as well. You know, today is one day, a lot of us don't eat, I don't eat late and so on. But today is a day when Shraddha is done, or when this type of Katha is done, you have to eat a little food. You know, it's how you share your blessings with those who have, you know, been part of it. So tonight we'll have a little Bhojan before you go, which is sponsored by Auntie Lalita and Uncle Beams. And also today is Ivy's birthday, a sister of our temple. Happy birthday to Ivy. This is coming from her daughter. She's a hardworking and a special mother from Madhuri, and your loving boys. Stay bright, and as you smile, and smile always. This comes from her daughter Madhuri. Ivy is a devotee of the temple. You may not see her a wrong lot here, but she's a devotee of the temple. We want to wish her all the best, and she celebrates her birthday today by being part of this Katha. Raj and Devi as well, they have prepared Bhojan tonight. They are cooking the Bhojan there tonight, and we ask Bhagwan's blessings on their family as well for being part of the process here tonight. We have a lot to talk about. Garud Puran, I must tell you, is a very informative discussion. There is not a lot of katha and chaupais and things you can sing and so, but it's very interesting because we talk a lot about a lot of interesting things. We talk about death before you die, how you know, we'll talk about all this stuff. And we'll talk about Pindadan, Shraddha. And I'm so happy that there's young people here. Well, there's a few young people here. Mangrove family, they're all young people, including Chris and Babita. Hey, Chris? Good. All of our young, lot of young people. Everybody here is young people today. What am I saying? Everybody here is young people, including myself. Because I think that sometimes we often think that them story this here are for old people because they got die force. Right? I always think like that. It's a story this here for old people because, they got die forced. The old people are living longer than this generation because, of a lot of reasons. But death, you all know it. Tonight you're here, tomorrow you may not be here, I may not be here. That's death. So we have to be prepared for death. And Garud Puran is a very beautiful book that helps us to prepare for death. Death is filled with rituals. Death, when Shraddha time comes, Pitr Paksh time comes, it is filled with rituals and observances. It is also filled with a lot of nonsense. A lot of totka. You want to see people get confused, you wait till a death come in their family. And when a death come in their family, they're going through pain, they're going through grief, they're going through losses. And on top of all of that, you'll get some auntie and uncle whisper in their ears. Not go out after 6. You gotta sleep on the floor for 13 days. And I don't know what and what. So on top of all the grief people go through, they got to go through the totka, or they have to be victims of somebody's ignorance. And when that happens, it really destroys a person. It makes the grieving process even more difficult, because you are now afraid, can I wink every minute? Or do I have to wink every 2 seconds? You understand? We're going to clear all of that, and for that reason we started Garud Puran in the temple, to bring a lot of clarity, because death can be very, very confusing to a lot of people. Garud Puran has all the answers, and I hope and pray that you will listen with devotion, because this here is a book that was written down and that was made possible by a devotee, by a vulture. His name is Garud. Now, before we go to Garud Puran, I want to engage all of you in a little discussion in the Ramayana. Quickly, let's go to Ayodhya Kand of the Ramayana. When we think about the death rituals, a lot of things come to mind. It's very elongated, and first of all, do we have to observe any of these things? Why is it, Panditji, that we Hindus have to go through, we have to do pindas and all this long process, 10-day ceremony, 13-day? Look at the Christians. They put you in a box and they put you in a wall and they put you there and that's it. They ain't got no 10-day, 12-day, 13-day. They don't got to cook every night for wake and feed people. What about them? They don't have a pindas. How are they? Are there people getting Atma and Mukti and all these kind of things, right? So there's an answer for that, but we'll get into it. Rituals are very important. Young people, don't let anyone tell you that rituals are ancient. Well, they are ancient, but they are not outdated. What is outdated is our thinking and our commitment to these rituals. When Bharat, remember when Raja Dashrath died, first of all, we have to be qualified. As you're dying, Antakale chamameva smarana muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra sanshayah. Whatever you think about at the time of your death, that is what you become. That is what you become. Jar Bharata, everybody remember Jar Bharata in the Bhagavatam? Jar Bharata, as he was dying, he was thinking of his deer, his pet deer, his little baby deer. And lo and behold, guess what happens? When he died, next birth, he become a deer. He didn't become a devotee of the Lord, he became a deer. But when he became the deer, guess what happens? He asked the question. He asked the question, so much devotion I had and prayers to God, but when I was dying, my mind was saturated with an animal, so I've become an animal. I've become an animal. So he made a commitment that I will become a human being back again. And you know what happened, everybody? We read it in Bhagavad. He gave up eating all the juicy grass and he eat only dry grass. And in next birth, he became Brahman, very educated. Last minute of your birth, however you live your life, that is how you will die. Remember that. However you live life, that is how you will die. So we have Bhagavad Gita saying, Antakale, at the last moment when you die, what you think of, you'll become. Bhagavatam is saying the same thing. When Jar Bharata was dying, he think of the deer, he became the deer. What does Ramayana says? This Doha tells us in the Ramayana, when Dashrath was dying, what did he think of? What were his last words when he was dying? This Doha, as Dashrath was dying. Ram Ram kahi Ram kahi, Ram Ram kahi Ram ho Rama, Ram Ram kahi Ram, Ram Ram kahi Ram kahi, Ram Ram kahi Ram ho Rama, Ram Ram kahi Ram, Kanu Parihari Raghubir hi, Rau gaye Surdham ho Rama, Rau gaye Surdham, Siya bhaj Ramchandra ki jai, Sharanam Shankar Hari Om Jai Jai Siya Ram.
Shankar, Hari Om, Jai Jai Siya Ram. Raja Dashrath was dying, and you know what? His last breath that he had in his body. People, don't waste your breath in life. I have pulled the plug on 27 persons in my life to watch them want another breath. Eh? You know, pull the plug me? Pull the plug? Okay. 27 people. And you know what? They wanted another breath only. Another breath they had wanted. Don't waste your breath in life. But if you're so lucky that you're conscious of your breath as it's leaving your body, here's what you do. Raja Dashrath. Ram Ram Kahi Ram, Ram Ram Kahi Ram Kahi, Ram Ram Kahi Ram. How many times did I say Ram? Hello? Govinda? How many times did I say Ram? Ram Ram Kahi Ram Kahi, Ram Ram Kahi Ram. To Sarah? Oh? No, you gotta listen back again. Listen back again. But I have to say it. Ram Ram Kahi Ram Kahi, Ram Ram Kahi Ram. 6 times. Close though. Did you get it? Okay. 6 times he said Ram, his last breath, and he called Ram's name 6 times, then he died. That's it. Such a lucky man to be conscious of his breath as he's leaving the body. Ram, 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 dead. What is the 6th breath representing? 6 names representing? Kam, Krodh, Madh, Moha, Lobha, Matsya. Lust, anger, greed, false pride, jealousy, hatred. These are the 6 enemies that Raja Dashrath called Ram's name before he died. To let him do not die with any hate. Let him do not die with any lust. Let him do not die with any greed. Lust, hate, greed, all these kind of things. You don't want to die. That's your baggage. We have come with those things. We have had them in our life. Let us go pure and clean. Ram Ram Kahi Ram Kahi Ram Ram Kahi Ram. Tanu Parihari Raghubir Hi. Pai Garye Surdham. And when he said the 6 names of Ram, he fell. And guess what happens? What happened to him? The king cast off his body, Ramayana says, and he ascended to the abode of the Lord. He went right away. Express. No long story, express. He went right away from death. Paye gaye Surdham. Surdham means heavens. How did we know he went to heavens? Remember, Bharat was not there, so Bharat came back from his uncle, right? Bharat came back from his uncle, and Bharat insulted his mother out of anger. Bharat was not there because Bharat was angry that, Ram Bhagwan went away and so. Pitu surpur ban raghubar ke tu main keval sab anrat hai tu. Bharat, Dashrath's body was preserved. Raja Dashrath's body was preserved. No Shraddha was done for him. Listen to this. But here Bharat, Pitu Surpur ban Raghubar Ketu. Surpur. Sur, you remember Rampur and Kanpur and all that. Pur means a place where people are living. Surpur. Sur means the Devatas. My father is in Surpur. My father is in heaven. And Ram Bhagwan is in the woods. And I alone am here to bear the torment of your decision, mother. Point I want to make, how can Raja Dashrath's body be lying there, but he is in heaven already? This is amazing, right? It's amazing. Puitu surapur ban raghuvar ketu, me keval sab anrat hetu. Anrat. Bharat says, I am the unlucky one, my brother is enjoying the kingdom of the forest. My father is already in the heavens. And I am here being the consequences of your decision, mother. Which shows you that the Atma, right? The Atma, if the Atma is so free, the Atma goes right away from death to God. Who else did that happen to?
Who else did that happen to? At the minute death happens, they went right away. Who? We just finished Bhagavatam. He sat for 7 days and listened to Bhagavatam. Hello? Raja who? Raja Parikshit. Raja Parikshit in the Bhagavatam, remember, he was cursed to die in 7 days. When the snake came and bit him, his body became bhasma. Because by listening to Bhagavat, his body was cremated already and his Atma was already in the heavens. Now what happens? Bharat is now going to perform the Shraddha ceremonies of his father. He's going to perform the ceremonies of his father. How did this happen? This is basic Ramayana. This is not even Garud Puran. Tat hriday dheeraj dharahu karahu jo avsar aaju ute bharat gur vachan sunu karan kahiyu sab bahu nriputanu ved vihit anhava param vichitra vibanu banava gahi pag bharat matu sab rakhi rahi ram darsan avilashi chandan agar bar bahuaye amit anek sugandh suhaye सरस जुतिर रवि चिता बनाई जनु सुरपुर सोपान सुहाई एहि विधि दाह क्रिया सब कीन्हा विधिवत नाई तिलांजलु दीन्हा सोधि सुमृति सब वेद पुराण कीन्ह भरत दस गात विधाना श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय. After Bharat vented, what happened? He had the king's body. This is the rituals I'm talking about. He had the king's body bathed in accordance with the rites prescribed in the Vedas. He caused the most splendid funeral for his father. The clasping of each of the... anyway, that's a little emotional there. Then there arrived many loads of sandalwood. Anybody know what sandalwood is? Chandan wood, right? Sweet smelling. Pitch pine and things like that. He brought all the sweet smelling wood, all the aromatic herbs, and the funeral pile was artistically built on the bank of the Sarayu river. Sarayu ke Tatpar in Ayodhya. The place is still there. Bharat, where he cremated father, still there. It looks like a lovely ladder to the heaven, the pyre that he built for his father. Looked like a lovely ladder to the heaven. Over here, I'm going to push you on a little box and you're gone. It looked like a lovely ladder to the heaven. So beautiful it was. This is the pride he took in the cremation of his father. And what happened? Ehi vidhi daha kriya sabakinha. This is Bharat. This is Bharat. This is not any other brother. This is Bharat. Ehi vidhi. Vidhi means the funeral rites. Right? There's a lot of things right now about rites, funeral rites, and all this old type of vidhi that you are doing, and there is a particular man on the internet attacking the Sanatan worshipping. Is it right to give cow, alam, pinda this way or do what? You gotta talk about basic Ramayana, not Garud Puran. Ehi vidhi daha kriya sabakinha vidhivatanyaha tilanjaludinha. Bharat performed all the rites for the cremation, followed by the bathing ceremony. He did tilanjali dinha, tilanjali, no, black till and milk and water. He offered for his father. And what happened? After ascertaining the views of all the smritis, all the texts, the rituals were done. The Vedas and the Puranas were read. Bharat observed sadhu smriti sabaveda puranha keen hi Bharat dasagat vidhana. he performed the Dasagata ceremony. How is the Dasagata ceremony done? We do it here. One day we do it. On the 10th day, this is called Dasgat. Everybody, Dasgat ceremony. I know we have a 10 day and 13 day and thing, but Dasgat is called. Dasgat means 10 ghat. A ghat is like if you have a trench or a river or something, and there is on the bank you make a bridge. Dasgat on 10 different ghat on each day after the cremation, the ceremonies are done. But for convenience in Canada and in Guyana too, we do it one day, right? What happened in the Ramayana here? Bharat, after taking the views of the Puranas, Bharat made the 10 days offering to his father, Dasgat ceremony, with a ball of boiled rice. Hear this, ball of boiled rice on each of the 10 days following the cremation of Dashrath. You see how you can learn stuff here? On each of the 10 days, he did the ceremony. So the cremation is today. When do you start counting? Hello, if you want to do 10-day ceremony, when do you start counting? Which is the first day? If let's say I cremate a body today, when is the first day? Tomorrow, right? So tomorrow 1 day, Sunday 2 day, Monday 3 day, up to 10 day. You do not start today the first day, and then next week Friday 8th day, and Saturday 9 day, and Sunday 10 day. You don't do that. On each day after the cremation of the body, he performed the Dashagat ceremony. So talk about this all the time, but we all are busy people. So that's why you have to have a priest. So what happens? He performed, and how is the pinda made? Not with rice flour, with boiled rice, right? He made it with boiled rice, and he performed it. Whatever order was given to him by the sage, at any time, Bharat carried out 1,000 times over that. What did he do? We are talking about give dan on the death of your ancestors and death of somebody. It is important to give dan, but please understand. Bharat bhaye visiddha diye sabadana dhenu baji gajbahan nana. Bharat, you know what he gave? The Hindus believe that to let the soul ascend, you must give dan. You have to give dan. But Bharat did 1,000 times more than if his guru told him to give 1 cow, he gave 1,000 cows. He gave thrones, ornaments, costumes, food, land, money, house. The Brahmins, everybody received then. Siddhasan bhushan basan annadharan dhanadham. Dham, na? Diye Bharat lai bhumi sur bhe pirpuran kam. Beautiful doha in Ayodhya Kand. He gave all these things to atone his father's Atma, but his father was in heaven already. Bharat knew that his father was in heaven already. Why is he giving all this dan? Because these are the rights of the Hindus. We cannot just erase these Vedic principles because it is convenient for us, because you are alive and that's them dead. Because come tomorrow or Saturday, we will talk about Pitri Dosh. You think people can curse you and you feel hurt? You see, when your ancestors curse you, or when your ancestors turn their back against you, you are in a lot of trouble. You're in a lot of trouble. Don't let that even happen. Now, how do you do that? Just sometimes it is good to live a good life so that they'll be pleased with you. Because Pitri Devo Bhava. The ancestors, the departed, they are like the Devas, those who have gone to the heavens. I believe up to today that whatever has happened in my life and continues to is the blessings of my mother. I believe that up to today because that is her magic, her blessings. Right? I don't know beyond, I don't know grandfather, great-grandfather. I heard about them, they're all good people. But I can only speak about who I know. It's, so Bharat knew that his father gone to heaven, but he observed these rites. So the older folks know this all, but younger people, don't neglect your dharma. Don't neglect your dharma because it looks a little old-fashioned. This is basic Ramayana. We haven't started about Garud Puran. Pituhin bharatahi kin jab karani. All the ceremonies that Bharat performed for his father were one more than 100,000 tongues could tell. Then after determining an auspicious day, the great sage Vasishta came and summoned all the ministers and everyone. They performed ceremonies in the name of Raja Dashrath. In the name of Raja Dashrath. This is Tulsidas' version of Ramcharitmanas of Ramayana, of course. And he tells us about the importance of rituals. Now let's go to Garud Puran and see what the Garud Puran says. How did the Garud Puran start? How did this Garud Puran start? Before we do that, let us bring Krishna Bhagavan to our lives. Because we all want to meet our ancestors through the Lord, Bhagavan Narayan.
मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया.
I look forward to meeting all of you every day, but I want to also meet my Madhav, my Krishna, because it is through him that the Atma of my ancestors will be blessed.
मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा
मिल गया.
ओ मेरी किश्ती को किनारा मिल गया. मेरी किश्ती को किनारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. ओ ढूंढती थी मेरी नजरों ने नजर. ढूंढती थी मेरी नजरों ने नजर. प्यासी नजरों को किनारा मिल गया. प्यासी नजरों को किनारा मिल गया. मेरी किश्ती को किनारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा
मिल गया.
ओ मैं किसी के द्वार जाऊं किस लिए. मैं किसी के द्वार जाऊं किस लिए. मुझको मोहन का द्वारा मिल गया. मुझको मोहन का द्वारा मिल गया. मेरी किश्ती को किनारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. मुझको माधव का सहारा मिल गया. राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे
श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम
राधे श्याम राधे श्याम। मैं किसी के द्वार जाऊं किस लिए? Why should I go to anyone's doors, O Krishna? मुझको मोहन का द्वारा मिल गया. When I can go and knock on the doors of God, He will always answer. Why should I go to the doors? Tonight, O Krishna, Bhagavan, we're knocking on your doors for blessings on our ancestors, on our beloved Pitris, and asking you for the blessings. Garud Puran. Om. नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो नारायणाय नमः. धर्माद्रिद वृद्धमूले वेदस्कन्दा पुराण शाकदयः कृतो कुसुमो मोक्षफलो मधुसूदन पातपो जयति. Once upon a time, Garud is a vehicle of Lord Vishnu. All of them have a Vahan except Bhagwan Ram. So Bhagwan Vishnu's Vahan, his vehicle is Garud. He's a big vulture, big bird. So Bhagwan Vishnu once said, Garudji, you work very hard. You can go on a vacation. Where is he going to go on a vacation? Garudji, he desired to come and wander around. Ekada vainatesya lokanam lokana spriha babhuva sota babhrama teshu nam harer grinam. Napatalam bhuvanam swarga भ्राणत्वा लब्ध क्षमाशयः लोके दुःख नति दुःखी पुनर्वकुम्भ दकातमम्. Garudji left the heavens and he was flying around. And he went around the world. He wandered around and he was muttering as he was go, the name of Bhagavan Hari, the name of Bhagavan Hari. Who is Bhagavan Hari? Bhagavan Vishnu. Nam Harer Grinanam. As he's flying, he's just chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. As we like to say a little joke in our family, don't worry, Bol Hari. Don't worry, Bol Hari. Hari Bol, worry no more. Don't worry, Bol Hari. He is flying around and he is chanting Hari Bhagavan's name. Napatalam bhuvam swargam. He wandered on the earth. He came and he visited the earth. He visited Patal. Patal is the 7 levels, we'll talk about that, of the lower levels of what you call hell. He visited there and he visited heavens and came back. But he could not find any peace. He returned to Vaikuntha. He returned, it's like you come back from a vacation and you came back more distressed than you went. So he came back and he did not have a good time. And Bhagavan Vishnu asked him, Garudji, why are you so sorrowful? The Lord knows when we are sorrowful. And so what happens? He goes in front of the Lord. Pita Shamkam Chaturbaham Prasanna Sitanananam. The Lord was dressed in beautiful yellow, possessing 4 arms, Shankha Chakra Gada Padma, with a smiling face. Bhagavan Vishnu spoke to Garud and says, Garud, tell me about your little vacation. How was it? You went and see earth and everybody. Tell me. And he says, Prabhu, I went everywhere, hell, heaven, earth, everywhere. But Prabhu, when I went on the earth, I felt more sad than anywhere else. Can you imagine this?
Garud went to hell and he went to earth. But when he came back from earth, he was more sad than when he went to exactly Patal. Bhagwan Vishnu, ye dukhi baat hai? You'd mean earth is a more sorrowful place than Narak? Well, that's concerning for me. Because this is supposed to be Swarg for us. This is supposed to be our heaven. Garud says, Prabhu, among all the worlds, Bhuloka sarvalokanam prachara sarvajantushah manushya sarvabhutanam bhakti muktalayam shubham. The shloka tells us, Bhuloka sarvalokanam prachara sarvajantunah. Prabhu, after all the world, Bhuloka, this place called Bhulo, this is Bhulok. Bhuloka is thickly populated with all kinds of creatures. Because when you go to heavens, everybody's elevated, you see all the gods there. When you go to Narak, you see all the devil there. But he says this place is very different. It's thickly populated with all kinds of creatures. There's snake, there's cockroach, there's people, there's malbonta, there's grasshopper, there's binbini, there's all kinds of things. So he's very confused. Prabhu, this region is most auspicious inasmuch as it affords a place to enjoyment. It is also a place to strive for salvation, but it's also very sorrowful. I'm very concerned. It seems, Prabhu, Gayanti Dekha Akilagita Kani. It seems that the gods sing songs, and so, if you go to heavens, you will find all kinds of things there. The gods are singing there, the people are praying. But this Bhulok, very different. So he says, tell me what questions that you have. What have you seen that disturbed you so much? He says, Prabhu, I'm going to tell you all the questions I have. And this here is the result of Garud Puran. When two people are talking, a good thing can come out of it, or a bad thing can come out of it. Right? Good thing can come out of it, and bad thing can come out of it. It is preferable that when you talk, let the output be something good. Because if you're going to leave a conversation in the worst state than you entered it, it's very bad for you. So he says, I'm going to ask you all my questions. And what are the questions he asked? Preta kaushipyate kasmat pascharatam mukhe katham adharaschatalita darbha padoyabhyam vasistataha Kimarta putrapausasya tasya tishtanti chaghrata Kimartham diyate danam godanam api keshava. Garuji says, Prabhu, please help me answer the following questions. I saw death, and I know about living, but when I saw death, I was very confused. And I saw so many rituals happening in that death rituals. I would like you, Prabhu, to explain them all to me. Explain them all to me. Why, my Lord, is the corpse, why are the toes of the corpse tied when a person dies? This is what he asked. Why is the toes of the corpse tied when a person dies? I've never seen this before. Why are there 5 jewels kept in the entrances of the body? Y'all know the story, right? When somebody dies, you have to put 5 pieces of gold at the 5 entry points. Why does this happen, my Lord? Why is the kush grass placed beneath the person? Why are the feet kept southward? Why are the feet kept southward, Prabhu? Why do the sons and the grandsons walk ahead? Why is there dan given, gifts given, including cow given, O Keshav? Why do the relatives and friends, even foes, the enemies, they forgive the person who died? Why can't they forgive him while he's alive? Why are the till offered? Why is gift given? Why is gold, cotton, salt? The 7 types of grains are given. Why is so much dan given? How does death happen? How does a creature die? Having died, where does the person go? The Atma go? No? Why does they have to carry the corpse on the shoulders? Why do they light the fire? Prabhu, I seen them doing anointment. Why is atonement done? Why is Yama Sukta recited? The Yama Suktam is very important. This is a ritual, a chanting. The Yama Suktam is done at funerals. Like you have Puru Suktam, Shri Suktam, Narayan Suktam, Durga Suktam, Vishnu Suktam. You have Yama Suktam to Lord Yama as well. It is. Why is the Yama Suktam done? I don't know. I don't think people know all these things. I mean, I don't expect you to know what the Yama Suktam is, but I expect you to have said, I listened to it already. But maybe you're outside chatting. I'm going to talk about that too. What will happen if you're outside talking about cricket and there's puja happening inside for the corpse, for the Atma? Little things we must change. In the West Indian community, I don't like this at all. The people are inside grieving and praying and singing outside. All kind of discussions are happening. Right? Tell me, Prabhu. And he asked a whole bunch of questions. Why is a lamp placed on every night? Why should the water be offered in the name of the person who passed away? Why should the 10 pindas be offered? What gifts should be given to the mains, to the ancestors? All these questions. He says, Prabhu, I'm concerned. I have questions. Why are the bones collected? No? Why is bath taken each day and so on? We talk about that. Why is it taken on the 10th day along with all the mourners? What happens on the Dashgartha ceremony? I've heard about it. Prabhu, why are vessels, clothes, all these things given? We talk about Dan. What is the rite of Sapinda karma? After cremation, 13 days, is that your response? Is it done, or do you have more to do? With whom is the union of the deceased sought, and how? Is that the end of the journey of the soul? Right? After seeing people merge in sorrows, Prabhu, a great pain arose in my heart. This is a vulture. He also has emotions. This affliction on the earth caused by disease and death. Prabhu, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Garud observed. He observed attachment. He asked the Lord, what is death? How does death occur? And the Lord is going to answer him now. And we will try to answer some of those questions because there's a lot of them. We have only 3 days. Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan. 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 Mama Sweda Samudbhata Sthilasthaksharya Pavitraka Asura Danava Daitya Vidravanti Trisedhata Stila Shveta Stila Krishna Stila Gopurna Samvibha Dahante me papani Sharirena Kritadive. Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan. 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 Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan, O Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan. Lots of questions as we ask. The Lord is going to answer a few things. He says, let me tell you, first of all, that in order to live, the Lord has provided the 5 boats of life. 5 boats of life. I've been doing this Garud Puran Katha every year, and Auntie Lalita, luckily, she likes to document things. A few years ago, she documented, we had 6 sessions of Garud Puran Katha. You know what she did? She documented what I said every single day. And she put it in this form here. I was so proud of of her to see this. And nicely she wrote here what I said about the 5 boats. This I think one day should be printed and given to people. This is done in 2020. Day 1, September 11, 2020. What I said in day 1, people are deep in attachment. What should a dying man do? What are the methods of cremation? What does the black seeds mean, the black till, and so on. Anyways, so we talked about all of that, and among the many things that we talked about how the Lord has given us 5 boats of life. It's beautifully documented. Hopefully one day we can print this thing and give it to people. It is very beautiful. So what are the 4 or 5 boats that the Lord has given us to live in this life? 5 boats. Pancham parharnana dyaitva bhavanyudyam majjatam nrinam. One of them is called, anyway, before I get there, Vishnu Ekadashi Gita Tulasi Brahmana Gavva. The 5 boats that we can use. Boat, you want to get from one place to the next. Rosendaal to Amsterdam, Parika to Essequibo, and that kind of thing. You take a boat. Either Torani, Malali, Makaura, or then get some fancy boat there now. You take speedboat or a fisherman boat, which I prefer. Anyways, there are 5 boats to get from one place to the next in this life. What are they? Vishnu, Bhagwan Vishnu, Narayan Bhagwan, worship Narayan or worship Bhagwan. Ekadasi. Ekadasi is a boat that takes us from whatever hellish place we're living in to Bhagwan. Do fast and worship on Ekadashi. You'll see how changes are going to come in your life. Don't eat grains. Do Ekadashi Vrat. I told you all about that. See how changes are going to come into your life. Ekadashi is a day when your body is filled naturally. It bloats. You don't have to put anything into it, but according to your health conditions. Vishnu Ekadashi Gita. What is the Gita? Sarvo Panishado Gavo Dogdha Gopal Nandana Partho Vatsa Sudar Bhukta Dugdham Gita Mritam Maha. Read the Gita every day. Long ago they used to tell you to put the Gita in a silk book and arti it every day. Do that too. After you arti it, open it and read it. But most importantly, live the Gita. Live the Gita. Gita is Sarva Upanishado Gavo. Right? One time I was at a wake and a Panditji was there, not a Sanatan Pandit, another Panditji was there, and he says, have you read the Chandogya Upanishad? Anybody ever heard the book before? Chandogya Upanishad? Never heard of it. It's one of the main Upanishads, Chandogya Upanishad. There are 18 types, 18 different Upanishads. Chandogya is one. You never heard about Chandogya Upanishad? I have it in my bookcase. I've read it, of course I have. Chandogya Upanishad. Then lots of Upanishads. So I said, Panditji, I've read the Chandogya Upanishad, but let me tell you, please. Sarva Upanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopalanandana Partho Vatsa Sudur Bhikta Dugdham Gita Mritam Maha. I have read the Gita. Because what is the Gita? The Gita is Sarva Upanishado Gavo. Sarva Upanishado Gavo. The Gita is the essence of all the Upanishads. That is how important the Gita is. Dogdha Gopalanandana, it is said that the Gita is like a cow. The cow, and who's milking the cow? Gopalanandana, he's milking the cow for the milk. If you're vegan, you wouldn't like this, but he's milking the cow for the milk. And then he gives the milk. Who does he give the milk to? Partho Vatsa Sudir Bhukta. He gives the milk of the cow to Partha. Who's Partha? Arjun. And who's Arjun? All of us are Arjun because we're fighting battles every day. We're battling something, so we are all Arjunas. He gives the milk to Arjun. Partho Vatsa Surir Bhukta Dugdham Gita Amritam Maha, in the form of the Gita Amrit. The Gita is nectar. Read the Gita every day, but most importantly, live the Gita. It is very important. So the three boats are both Vishnu, Ekadashi, Gita, Tulasi. Tulasi is a boat as well. You can find comfort. You can go on a luxury vacation with a boat. Tulsi gives you that. Become a worshipper of Tulsi. Live the life of Tulsi. I almost want to ask if there's a Hindu without a Tulsi plant in their home, but they're going to tell me, I agree with you. Right? Tulsi get ways, I agree with Pandits even. That doesn't mean you're a sinner, you're a bad person, you're a good person. Worship the Tulsi, but most importantly, respect the Tulsi. Those of us who are Seva of Mata Tulsi, see how she transcends your life. Vishnu, Ekadashi, Gita, Tulasi, Brahmana. The Brahmana, anyways, I don't want to talk too much about Brahman because you all want to tell me a Brahman thing. I'm a Brahmana. I live life of a Brahmana. Brahmano Samukhamasit. The Brahmana is the mouthpiece of the Lord. Vedic chanting here. Brahmano Samukhamasit. Whatever the Brahman eats, he has to eat for the Lord. Can you imagine that? Whatever the Brahmana eats, he eats for the Lord. Whatever the Brahman drinks, he drinks for the Lord. Whatever the Brahman speaks, he speaks for the Lord. Brahmanosya mukhamasit. The Brahmana transcends you. And then we have Gawa, the cow. The cow as well, mother cow. Please worship her, respect her. Anyways, these are the boats of life. Bhagwan says, I've explained to you the boats of life in which one can ascend. You ask how death occurs. At the hour of death, Mrityu kale kshiped bhatyam karnayos rastaya chaya devastu kshipate yoso devhastu parvoshtitaha. You ask me to tell you how death occurs. Let me explain to you how death occurs, Garuda. At the hour of death, when the hour of death approaches, Darbha should be placed in the hands of the deceased, right? If you're lucky to have Darbha or kush grass, should be placed in the hands of the deceased. And his body, there should be presence of that there in the traditional way before they put, you're a Hindu, so you must insist that your cremation according to Hindu rites. That doesn't mean you should dress up the body with a $1,000 garara or a $500 sherwani, right? One of the 30 things I wrote about, I will share that with you. One of the 30 things I wrote about my 30 years of experience as a Pandit doing funerals is that the people who are in the casket, the lifeless person, or who I call the dead man, many cases you will never see them with a kurta or a sherwani. But when they're dead, they pick the most expensive clothes to go born. But when they're alive, they'll never wear a kurta. But to die, they want the most. We were in Guyana recently. Sita was there, my sister was there. I took my sister for shopping in this place in quarantine, because that's what I like to do, I like to shop. And we were buying some things, buying some stuff for my sister. And there's this people come, and they bought a garara. I'm telling you this, my sister was a witness to it, for 75,000 Canadian dollar. Canadian? Guyana dollar. I take that. Until I don't write that down. 75,000 Guyana dollar. So the person, a nice white bling, pure thing. So me go close to me and listen to the conversation. The people are crying and said, my mother got to born in this 75,000 Guyana dollar for a lenga. My bill came to about a little over 75,000, but that was like 5 things I bought. One is going to cost 75,000 Guyana dollar for a funeral, for the mother to wear to cremate. I said, wow. I mean, I know we are West Indian Hindus are rich people, but man, can you imagine if I took that and put it on Ma Durga, what's going to happen on Shashti Day? A nice white, beautiful bling lenga put it on Ma Durga, she's going to shine like the Devi Bhagavad says she should on Shashti. We can't afford that. 75,000 to born. But when we're alive, we never dress like a Hindu. Right? The things don't bother me, but they make me ask questions. What kind of a Hindu life are we living? At the time of cremation, we must cremate as a Hindu. If you are lucky to have families around, at a funeral home and so, let us press some kush grass below the casket and put the body afterwards. Dress in suit and tie and bow tie and thing, no problem. Burn it all afterwards. Right? We want to live a life, a non-Hindu life, but we want to die like a Hindu. I don't understand this, my people. I come across a little bit rough. But I say always, if you want to learn how to live, go to a funeral and do everything that they do, but do it to a living person. If you want to know how to live, you look for Manu Smritis. The non-Sanatan Pandit asked me, have you ever read Manu Smriti? I'm saying, plain by thing hard, a little by whatever, but Manu Smriti about the laws of life. Go to a funeral and watch how they do a cremation, what they say, what they do, what they sing, what they talk, and you do all of that to a living person. See how your life will progress. Right? Praise a person when they're alive. Praise that man for. You not hear nothing. Praise the person. You come to this country with $1 in your pocket. That is the guy in his speech. He come to this country with $1 in your pocket and he made. Go tell a person that when they're alive, man, I know you come to this country with $1 in your pocket. Look now, you're a millionaire. God bless you. See how good you feel. Right? See how good you feel. Go sing a bhajan for a person when they're alive. Right? Go read the life history of a person in front of them. Go spray perfume on a person when they're alive. Spray dead man perfume. Huh? Go do these things for a person when they're alive, because the corpse has no ability to feel anything that you're doing. Right? Bhagavan says, how does that occur? Well, at the hour of death, you put the darba. Then the cremation happens, the feet of the deceased. The toes are tied together. Guruji asked why the toes are tied together. The toes, there is something called the Muladhara, which is the first chakra of the body. It exists between the genital and, anyway, that part of the body there, bottom of the spine, it exists. When that is opened, the soul fights to get in back to the body. The soul, because imagine the Atma comes out. Atma doesn't want, body is like, no, I want more. So the toes are tied. So when the toes are tied, that part is closed. Right? The toes are tied so that there is no interference with the soul and the body. It is tied together. And then what happened? The Lord said there are forms of death. There are different forms of death. And he said the wind moves upwards of the body anyways. I want to tell you about that. When the time of death comes, the soul does not depart but lingers over the body. The soul lingers over the body because the soul wants a body to enjoy life. The soul lingers over to the body. No matter whether the dying person, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, whatever it is, it lingers over the body. You asked me to describe you to the form of death. Here is the different types of death that happens. Now, just as the wind scatters cloud here and there, that Kala, that time, the destroyer of life and the giver of life floats from one end to the next. It floats. The sun, the moon, Shiva, water, air, Indra, fire, the sky, all of them, O Garud, these are created and destroyed by Kal, time in due course. There are 4 types of death. What are they? Yainandranani chekani prokti bheda krito nacha asti shraddadhanascha mukham cha mrityu pasyati. That person who has never spoken falsehood, nor has any partiality in devotion, but believes in God, they obtain death peacefully. That's called a peaceful death. Right? Number 2, Yona Kaman Samrambhana Dvaishadha Karma Mrityu Sejitaha Yatetkari Saurabhyascha Sasukham Mrityu Chayati. He who does not stray from their dharma due to pleasure, he who does not stray from their dharma due to wrath or envy, but does what he says and is gentle, they also obtain a peaceful death. They also obtain a peaceful death. But those who preach ignorance, they pass through darkness. Those who are false witnesses, liars and deceitful, they obtain death unconsciously. You know what an unconscious death is? Unconscious death is if you're sleeping and you die, or if you are not conscious when you die. I have to be a little sensitive because I don't want people to tell me them daddy dead like that and thing, anyway, or mommy dead like that and whatever. But it is good to die when you're conscious. And how? Because you're able to remember the Lord. He cries and the Atma and so on. Anyway, due to terrible sufferings, that type of death comes where you're not conscious of what's happening. So there's those who do good things and those who do not good things. Then the Lord explains now about all the things Garudji is asking. What is the meaning of the till? What is the meaning of the darbha? What is the meaning of this and that? The till, O Garuda, it is sacred. Mama sweda samudbhasma. The till is very sacred. It is a product of my perspiration. The black till is a product of the Lord's perspiration, whether it's black till or white till. The sesame seed, it can destroy the presence of evil spirits. Whenever you're doing Shraddha ceremony, the Panditji Tilas Soma, he takes the till and he sprinkles it on the diya, on the ghee, everything in there. Because no evil energy should come around there. The ancestors, they cannot defend themselves. The black till is the perspiration of the Lord. And so, a single grain, don't worry about a whole handful, a single grain is good. When offered with devotion, when offered with water or milk to the Atma, it purifies them. It purifies them. Darbha, the bahima grass, not the bahima grass, sorry, the kush grass. What is that? Darbha Roma Samudbhava. Darbhas are born from my hair, from the hair of the Lord. The kush grass is born. And so by its mere presence there, it destroys evil from there. And he continues, my friends, to tell the Lord, to tell Garuda about this amazing process called death. Om Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan 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 Gat pranam tato gyatva snanva patrushama shutam shavam jalena shuddhena shanadenya vicharayam Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan Paridhyasha hato vasro chandana prokshaye tanum tato mritasya sthane ve eko drishtam samachare Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan Jai Jai Narayan Bhagavan O Garud Ke Narayan Bhagavan. The death happens. How is the funeral? Gata pranam tato gyatva snatva putradashutam. When a person dies, what is the first thing you do? In Canada, you know what you do. You call the police or you call the hospital. We have procedures around that. In Guyana, I don't know what you do. Long ago when somebody dead, you keep them at the house, you put them in an ice box, and on the day of the funeral, you bathe them, and you give them a funeral. It was very simple. They are in the house that you're sleeping in. You know that? Guyana children, oh, you don't know that? Somebody died, you keep them in the house. I have the ice box busy because someone in the village dead and the ice box busy. You put in a zinc. You have a zinc, you tie it up with rope, you put ice inside. That's how you preserve the dead back then. And we'd go sing every night, every single night, and sit in the same house. A dead man there right there, you there sing and whatever thing, Jai Krishna Hare, Sri Krishna Hare. And then when the water from the ice bag come out, them are empty, well, you sit down right there. That's how we were brought up. We were not scarred, we didn't cry as victims, it made us very strong people. When the death happens, you call your Panditji. Why do you call your Panditji? You call your Panditji because in our Dharma, the Panditji is the closest person in your spiritual life, right? The Panditji guides you. I want to tell all of you, there is only one person you should listen to when death happens, and in your religious life, in your spiritual life, and that is your Panditji. No neighbor, no cousin, no auntie, no uncle, no grandfather, no old lady or old man, unless they are your Panditji. It is okay for people to give you advice, but people can be a little intrusive sometimes. You know, I'm plain spoken. And then you listen to all what the God tell you, and you listen to the poor Pandit guidance, and you know who to believe. So my condition for doing a funeral, I'm very bold with people. I said, I'll do the funeral, I'll be there to help you on one condition only. One condition only. You listen to me, and you listen to me only. That's it. Story done. Everybody can tell you help you how to grieve and how to calm your mind and everything. You have a lot of teachers of that out there, but listen to your Panditji only. Why is it important? At the time of death, the Panditji have to check one important thing. Anybody know what that is? Tell me. What does the Panditji have to check for? If you die in? Panchak. What is Panchak? Panchak means an assembly of 5 inauspicious stars, or what we call planets. It is not auspicious to cremate in Panchak. Please learn this. When there's a Panchak Katha here, no? There's a Panchak Katha here that talks about when a person dies in Panchak. And so what happens here? The 5 constellations from Dhanishta to Revati. These are the constellations. Ado Kritva Dhanishta. The 5 constellations from Dhanishta are always inauspicious. Cremation should not be done on these days. It's clear to everybody? Cremation should not be done on these days. Panchak. But Panchak is 5 days. And we gotta go back to work, and we gotta go back to all these kind of things. So what am I going to do? I gotta wait until the funeral home and all that kind of thing ready. So what am I going to do? Well, if you're a staunch Hindu, I can only tell you what to do. When Panchak happens, there's special Panchak Shanti Vidhi Puja should be done. The Panditji will advise you whether there is the Panchak Puja and so on should be done. What happens? If you die in Panchak, it is very, very important to wait until Panchak is finished before you do the cremation. Grihe hanar bhavatyena rishechi mritasya cha. If one dies during these constellations and his cremation is performed during this period, his family suffers tremendously. Okay? This is from the book. Family suffers tremendously. And the cremation is harmless during the period only if the following injunctions are observed strictly. The Brahmana should perform sacrifice with ahuti and mantras. There's a way to do it, but you better have a very skilled Panditji to do that. There's special suktams to chant and all that. There's a way to do it. But with the quality of Pandits that I've seen in the community, and I do not badmouth Pandits, we have a lot of great talented Panditjis in the community, but we have a lot of people also who are making Panditai a profession by not learning the proper things. and not doing the rituals. I don't know when last you see a ritual at a funeral. It is rarely done, but you must have a Panditji who is skillful in these things. The Panditji will tell you that whether it is auspicious or inauspicious for the cremation. What happens? The funeral person dies, the Panditji advise you what to do. The arrangement for the cremation should be made, right? Garud Puran is telling us here what should happen. And so the date is fixed for the cremation. And Esha etattu vidhi prokta shradhena malilena to shadena maranasthane dwara chatwarike tatha. Now the date is fixed. The Panditji performs the pindadan. Paravokto panchavi pindo shashvasyam hitiyogyata ananyata chopadhasyasya rakshasadhya bhavantiti. 5 pindas are performed plus 1. 5 plus 1 on the funeral day. Depend on what happens. 5 is done at the place of the funeral, and 1 is done at the pyre. Or when they collect the ashes, they do 1 pinda there. Total 6 pindas for the cremation. Why is this done? We are returning the body to its source. We are returning the body back to its source. And the 6th pinda is done for the mana, the 6th element. And what happened? The pindas are offered. Pinda puja is done. Yamstuti is chanted. Prayers are done. Then prayer is offered to the chitta, the pyre. What do we say? When we do the puja, we do not say Agni Mile Purohitam Yagyassadeva Mritmejam. We don't say that because that is the fire that burns your samagri. He takes a different form to burn the corpse. The fire that burns the samagri, that is called what? Hello? Anybody here? What's the name? At the back, hello? Are you guys here? Agni. The fire that burns your samagri in the puja, it is called Agni. And the one that burns the corpse is called what? It's called Kravya. Kravya. It is not the same Agni. You invoke Kravya Dev to come take the corpse. He takes a different form. The people pray. The body is burnt and so on, and all the things are offered. Pratipinda pradaschatma dahi darshanamam khaga tata pradakshinam kritva chitta prasthanapi pavaham. Pratipinda is offered to comfort the deceased, comfort the Atma. Then circumambulation of the fire happens for purification. You have one more chance to allow the soul, the Atma, to go, my friends. When a person dies, I know it is okay to cry and so on, but the Garud Puran tells us, Ashvapatam chakurvanti dattva daha jalanjalam. It is best to abstain from shedding tears at a funeral. Why? They should abstain from shedding tears at the funeral. But if they shed tears, what happens? The Atma, anyways. The departed spirits consume. They have to consume the tears that is given off. So you got to be strong, live life so much that when somebody dies, you're not going to celebrate. Some people say we're celebrating life. But at least you're going to be content. Because most of the times when a person cries at a funeral, they're crying because they did not have an opportunity to do what they're supposed to do. Don't be faced with that. Don't be faced with that. Cry because, or grief because you honestly love this person, and it's tears of joy. I'm happy with the life that we have lived. What happens now? They go back to their home, and there are some procedures that go on there. This vary depending on who is your Panditji and all that. There's purification, bathing ceremony happens. Before everybody go in the home, you must do some purification and so on, because you've come from a funeral place. I want to ask all of you, my friends, when you go to a funeral or a viewing, please don't do a few things. Don't ever eat or drink at a funeral home. Please. The most I do at a funeral home is swallow my spit. That's the most I do, swallow my spit and go to the washroom. Nothing else. Nothing else, because it is a place of, physically it's kept clean. That's not about, they have standards. These guys are pretty up to standard with everything. But there's something called energy. Energy, before we bless somebody, we have to do so many pujas on that kalash, and then we take the water energized and sprinkle it on people. Before we do prokshan, we have purification, we have to bless. At a funeral, everything that is there draws from the energy that is there. It is all sorrowful energy, it is low energy. And if you are a half-decent Hindu, you will realize that on a daily basis you do puja, you do Gayatri Japam, you do your whatever it is you do, you live a very pure life. What you put in your body, it's important to understand what you put in your body. It will either enhance your energy or lower your energy. So the most you put in your body when you go to a funeral is you swallow your spit. Today, there is a feast at funeral homes. There's coffee for everybody, there's chow mein, there's fried rice. You go to funerals, you put on weight. Yeah, it's everything there, and we don't know what we're eating or we're drinking, but you don't do that. That's one thing you should never do. Right? If you've done it in the past, you didn't know, you just did that. No matter what coughing goes on or what dry throat I have, swallow your spit. That's it. The next thing, you go home from a viewing or a funeral, please take a bath and please wash your clothes. Okay? Please take a bath. As soon as you go home, please take a bath and please wash your clothes. Because you're talking about an energy system. Now, people of today, the intellectuals will tell you that long ago stuff, because long ago the body was kept and you had germs all over the place and all that kind of thing. Fine. Now we have Purell, you can wash your hand and thing. But the amount of energy that is not so pleasant, all of it is present at the funeral home. When you take a bath, no matter how down you feel, that bath raises up your energy back. You don't go into your home. We had a this is old tradition that has a meaning. Now you will wear fancy suit and so on and go to the funeral. You're going to say, Panaji, how are we going to wash the fancy suit? Don't wear fancy suit and go to funerals. You're going to see a dead man. What you want to dress up to go see a dead person for, right? Another thing, our Hindu brothers and sisters love to wear black and go to a funeral. You didn't know, but you love to wear black and go to a funeral because you think we have to mourn for the dead. It is a bad color to wear at a funeral because black is a color that draws energy. If you wear black and you go out in the sun, it's not a repellent. It draws the sunlight. You feel hot. Black tikka is worn in certain pujas because whatever you do, you want the energy to reside there. But it's not when you go and you wear black at a funeral, you are drawing all the negative energy, sorrowful energy. You come back from the funeral lower than you went. Be a nice Hindu, wear a little nice white kurta or something, or a nice little shalwar, whatever you have. But please wear white because it is good for your energy, your spirit. There are little key things you should know about a funeral. After the funeral, please go home and take a bath. After a viewing, please go home and take a bath. If you go to a wake, it's a different story, that you don't have to do that, unless you like taking baths at night. But funeral and viewing, it's a must. You should take a bath and you should wash your clothes as well. Please learn that little thing. It helps you. What happens now? They go home after the funeral. They do cleansing ceremony. At the door, there are some things that they prepared and so on. I don't want to get into those little things. You'll get guidance for that. Now starts the Dashgatra ceremony. What happens now? You have to prepare for the Pinda ceremony, the 10 Pindas. And I think we are at 9 o'clock. But I'll just do this in about 10 minutes and we'll be finished. The 10 Pindas are offered. Each day, technically, in the ancient time, used to happen. Now it doesn't happen. And there's nothing wrong in doing it one day. What are the 10 Pindas for? Om
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagyadena nadehaya satviyena yamanuga tushvanti hi chaturdhena sapya pushtvati jivati ahorratrestu nav bhaktir dehe nishta pavityata shiramapyadhena yapindena pretasya kriyate tatha. Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya. Each night, our Hindu system tells us that there's pujas, or not pujas. You don't have to do any pujas till the 10th day now. When the 10th day comes, what happens? 10 pindas are offered. The Panditji chant the mantras. Why do you do 10-day ceremony? Why are the 10 pindas offered? Remember, the soul has a journey to begin on the 13th day at 12 noon. But you have the soul or the Atma, and that Atma is like an engine. But it needs a body, it needs a car to begin the journey. How is it going to begin the journey? You have to create what we call an astral body. Stula Sharira, Karanya Sharira. You have the physical or the gross body, then you have the Karanya Sharira. The astral body. The astral body, anybody here see the movie called Doctor Strange? It's a Marvel movie. Anybody here see Doctor Strange? Dave, see Doctor Strange. You will know what an astral body is, Doctor Strange, right? When his physical body was lying there, the astral body came out. And his doctor friend says, "Who are you?" He says, "I'm just the astral body." Right? So you have physical body, you have an astral body. When the physical body dies, the Hindus written in the Garud Puran, this is Garud Puran that Marvel is making movie on now. The Hindus create what we call an astral body. How do you do the astral body? Because this now has to be the new vehicle to go in, to start a journey on the 13th day. So on the 10th day, you offer 10 pindas. Ahoratretu navam bhidehe. The first pinda that you offer forms the head of the preta. Pratamo pinda, you offer the mayadiyanteta upatishtatam. Shivasyaho na pindena pretasya kriyate tatha. It creates the head of the preta. Right? Then the second pinda, dvitiye natu karnakshi. This is amazing because in the pinda you say, dvitiya pindakshi karnakshika pinda mayadiyante taopatishtatam. The second pinda that is offered, it forms the ears, the eyes, and the nose. By the third pinda, it forms the neck, shoulders, and the arms and the chest. These majestic big biceps will be formed by that pinda. Is there a vet around here? Oh, no, not this one. Anyways, the fourth pinda forms the navel and the private parts. The fifth pinda forms the thighs and the calves. Nah? Imagine when you live, you get hip and shoulder and neck and everything, but when you die, you rebuild everything back. By the sixth pinda, the vital organs are formed. The seventh pinda forms the nerves. And the eighth pinda forms the teeth and the hair. The teeth and the hair.
The ninth pinda forms the nervous system, and the 10th pinda, fullness is achieved. Hunger is satisfied. So what you do with the 10 pinda is you have rebuilt the whole body. I don't know if you've ever seen a 10-day ceremony, but when people have 10-day ceremony now, usually the men alone sit down and watch the 10-day and the ladies are inside. I don't know why, but you should watch these things. What the Panditji will do, he will pick up all the pindas at the end of it, and then they'll make one big pinda like this. Ball. That means you're merging the limbs, the nose, the head, everything. You merge it all together. Purna. And the Panditji, they will form two eyes, and they'll form a mouth. They'll place the tulasi. Garud Puran tells us the tulasi goes on the eyes. And what they do, they take a whole bunch of kush grass and they put it on top of the pinda. So if you are living without hair all your life, you got brand new hair. Brand new hair. Make for you. Because you got to go back to God looking like a star. You came like a star, you got to go back looking like a star. I'm not saying that if you don't have hair, you're not a star. Please don't take me wrong. You got to go back like a star. And then you take the kush grass, you put it there. And what happens now? You form the astral body. That pinda is taken and is placed in the water. It's placed in the water. That is the power of the 10-day ceremony. Lots of things happen in the 10-day and so on. The Dashgatra ceremony. It is done so beautifully. I think that we have to start appreciating, when these things are done, make it your duty to take some time and sit when it is done, if you're allowed. Because people are funny these days. Make it a time to sit and watch what is going on, and you will learn something. No? You will learn something. Now what happens? After the 10-day ceremony, Dashgatra ceremony is done. What is the 12-day ceremony for, and what is the 13-day ceremony for? What is the difference between 12 and 13? Anybody know the difference between 12 and 13? 12. What is the difference between 12 and 13? 1. 13 minus 12 is 1. Trick question. So, some people will tell you, when do you do 12 day and who do 13 day? Who do 12 days? They will tell you Brahman do 12 day and Kshatri do 13 day. No, it's not done. On the 12th day, Sapindi Karanam Chaiva Tritya Shodashi Mata Dwadashahe Kripakshecha Chamasame Masikedavaha. On the 12th day is when all the pindas are done. The 16 pindas are done. Right? You don't do anything. On the 12th-day ceremony, pindas. Chanting is done. Gajendra Moksha, Vishnu Sahasranamam. All these things are chanted on the 12th day. When pindas and pindas only are offered, 16 pindas. Tomorrow we'll talk about the 16 pindas. And then on the 13th, after that, you wash hand, put all pindas and so on. And then on the 13th day, the Gita part is done. Gita and only Gita. Then you clean up everything, wash up everything, put away. Invite everybody now to come and listen to the glories of the Gita Mahatma. We listen to Gita part. That is the day. On 12 noon that day, the Atma departs to its, Now, for convenience, and I'm not saying this is good or bad for convenience, because in Canada, to put away all these kind of days, to do these things, it's very difficult. So people either do everything on the 12th day or everything on the 13th day. But if you ask what is the difference between 12th day and 13th day, that is what it is. I have only done this one time for someone, and that is when Pandit Rajan Bal Gobind, when his mother died. We did a 12-day ceremony, full pindas, wash hands, go home. Next day at the temple, we did a 13-day ceremony. It was beautiful, beautifully done. But you do it upon your convenience. You should know the difference between that, though. Garud Puran tells us that at on the 13th day, at 12 o'clock, the soul departs. And that's why they say you must finish before 12 and so on. Anyways, so that is the funeral procedure. When someone dies, the funeral ceremony, 10-day ceremony, 12-day ceremony, 13-day ceremony. Bhagavan tells us, how does death occur? He says, at the time of death, the attendants of Yam comes. The attendants of Yam comes and they push the prana out of the body. Now the apana. Prana is what you breathe in. Apana is what you breathe out. There are 5 breaths called the pancha prana. They push the apana out of the body going northwards. The size of the atma is the size of your thumb. This big. At the time of death, the ancestors, they visit you. At the time of death, the attendants of Yam will visit you. You will hear people when they're dying. I'm telling you, I've seen this so many times. This is no dogma or Nancy stories. When people are dying, and you know when they're dying, they'll tell you, oh, look, and they call a kind of name that you have never heard before. Them Ajiki sister, okay, this, that people are saying, who are these people? They're seeing them, right? The ancestors are visiting them, and they are talking to them, and they're telling you they see some man with a right horse, and he wear black suit and all this kind of thing, and people are like, it's okay, uncle, you're hallucinating. All right, the Hindu scripture is not like that. It's very deep. Tonight, it's information night. Tonight we talked about the funeral. When somebody dies, please call the Pandit, listen to your Pandit, and your Pandit alone. Put everything in the Panditji's hands, and you'll see how easy the thing will flow. We talked about the 10-day ceremony, and so on. Now, finally, we'll close up. Let's talk about some things that you hear when people dead. You hear instructions that you receive, right? So if I'm doing the cremation for my father, they'll tell me that I have to sleep on the ground or on the floor until the 13th day. And I can't go out of the yard, I gotta stay home. Right? I can't go to work, I can't do nothing. You better have a very good employer if you're gonna do that. So what is this sleep on the ground business? You don't have to sleep on the floor. You know where this tradition came? Because long ago when a person died, I told you, they have to keep the body in the home. And then at that spot where the body was, when they cremate the body, nobody wants to go sleep there. Because, everybody come over here, gotta sleep on the ground. So the poor boy now said, nobody wants to sleep there where my father used to be, I'm gonna go lay down there. Right? So they lay down on the ground and things like that. This time you have your comfort of your mattress, sleep on your mattress. I told you the story already. We're having thing out there. I'm going to remind you though because we're getting a little forgetful. One time somebody died and said, Panditji, my son's auntie tell me that my son got to sleep on the ground for 13 nights and he can't go walk. I said, don't do that. Let the boy sleep on his bed, pray, observe your fasting every morning, do it till Anjali and things like that. He said, so you can go to work? I said, of course, you got a job, you got to go to work. I mean, you're not breaking any customs or tradition. This is called Deshriti or Kalriti, according to the country you live in. He said, you sure? Because my hair, everybody attacked me. I said, well, yeah. So apparently, when I finished the 13th day and so on, come back now, auntie called me and said, Panditji, something to do right. I said, wanna do right? He said, because as soon as the 13th day done, my son get bad back pain and he lose his job. Bad back pain and he lose his job. Because they didn't listen. They buy sleep on the ground. Which Canadian child you go put for sleep on a ground, man, on a tile, and then I'll get back pain? You didn't show up or you work for 2 weeks without proper thing, you're going to lose your job. So nothing didn't go wrong. You just didn't listen to the Pandit. Please don't follow dogmas and don't follow Totka. Follow your Panditji. Tomorrow when you come, we'll touch a little bit about Savitri and Satyavan. We'll touch a little bit about Sitama performing Shrad, all these things about women cannot perform Shrad, who can perform Shrad, who you can perform Shrad for, and things like that. But before that, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we have our food drive here. I'll be here to receive all the food that you bring for the women shelter that we're giving it to and the people who are needy. From 10 to 12 tomorrow, we'll be here. The team is working hard to coordinate this for us. We do it in Pitru Paksh. It is important to come here and to bring your food. People have brought in advance, and that is great. But tomorrow, please drop it off between 10 and 12. After that, we go straight to the shelter, and we deliver the food. It's a very, very auspicious time to do that. And also please remember Sunday morning is Mahalay Amavasya. When, if you're a man or a woman, doesn't matter, you can do Shrad, you can do it for your dear ones and for anyone as well. I hope to see you all then as well. And please remember, Navratri starts on Monday. Please become a devotee, become a sponsor, become someone that can come out and pray for 9 nights. This Navratri go 8 nights plus Vijayadashmi. So it's a little bit shorter, but it's okay.
Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Govind Jai Jai Radha Raman Hari Govind Jai Jai Govind Jai Jai Gopal Jai Jai Govind ब्रह्मा की जय जय विष्णु की जय जय ब्रह्मा की जय जय विष्णु की जय जय उमापति भोले शंकर की जय जय उमापति भोले शंकर की जय हो राधा की जय जय मीरा की जय जय राधा की जय जय मीरा की जय जय ओ मोर मुकुट बंसी वाली की जय जय मोर मुकुट बंसी वाली की जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय बोले श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जय. Want to thank Mataji Jashoda Hari Krishan ji for her presence this evening and praying for her ancestors. God bless you always, Mataji, and your family as well, and all your pitris. May they ascend to heaven if they're not there already. Thank you to Auntie Lalita and Uncle Bhims for their sponsoring their food tonight. To Raj and Devi as well. And happy birthday to our dear sister Ivy, celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to you always. Let us stand for Aarti, please. Om Yani Kani Chapapani Yani Kani Chapapani Janamantar Kritani Chan Tani Sarvani Nashyantu Padakshanam Pade Pade. Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare भक्त जनों के संकट दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. जो ध्यावे बल पावे दुख बिन से मन का. स्वामी दुख बिन से मन का. सुख संपत्ति घर आवे सुख संपत्ति घर आवे. कष्ट मिटे जन का. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी. स्वामी शरण कहूँ मैं किसकी. तुम बिन और न दूजा. प्रभु बिन और न दूजा. आस करो मैं किसकी. ओम जय जगदीश हरे. ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। पूरन करमात्मा तुम अंतरयामी। पालन करता कृपा करो ओम जय जगदीश तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति। स्वामी सबके प्राणपति। किस बिन मिलो दया में, किस बिन मिलो दया में, कशों में तुम्हारी। ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
ओम जय जगदीश हरे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव, त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देव। ॐ कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। करचरणकृतं वा कायजं कर्मजं वा श्रवणनयनजं वा मानसं वा अपराधं विहितम् अविहितं वा सर्वमेतत्क्षमस्व। जय जय करुणाब्धे श्री महादेव शम्भो। ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनां सर्वे सन्तु निरामय सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। बोले गणपति भगवान की, पवन सुत हनुमान की, सियावर रामचंद्र की, राधा कृष्ण भगवान की, जगदम्बिका माता की, सत्य सनातन धर्म की। सबको ये जय जय सीताराम। नमः पार्वती पतये हर 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 महादेव शंभो। Please take our tea. Prasad will be given at the door. And please have bhojan downstairs before you eat. I'll see all of you tomorrow evening. Katha starts. Satsang starts at 7 o'clock for discussion on Garud Puran.